We are from Africa. That's why we call ourselves Afrikaners. We want to remain here. We also want to retain our identity.
Did you know there's a place in South Africa where black people are not allowed to live, neither to work, no common dreams, with South Africans? They have their own law, they have their own flag, they have their own currency, they have everything. Every of their thing is different from South Africa, but they are living in South African soil. Hey, wonder shall never end. I want you to watch this video and see. They call themselves Afrikaners. They don't have anything to do with them. Let's watch and see.
The question, why can't a black person come here? Is not the right question. It's more a question like a marriage between two people. It's an exclusive affair. Doesn't mean you're against anyone else. You take your wife. She's important to you.
Yep.
Or and in your wedding, in your marriage, you're exclusive. Doesn't mean it's not built on hate. It's built on love for our culture. We want to preserve our culture. We want to
they're all whites.
To preserve our traditions, our faith, our language. These are the things that we want to preserve.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africans.
The land here we bought, we paid for it.
From who?
Well, at that stage, we bought it from the previous owner, which was the government. Right?
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land and no one is allowed to come in.
Our name is Afrikaners. Our language is Afrikaans.
Wow.
Right. So we feel part of this continent, and maybe people don't agree, but I don't have another home. Obviously, I know that I have European roots. 400 years ago.
Yeah.
For 400 years, my people have been here.
Yeah.
I love Africa. I don't want to live any place else. I feel a part of this continent. My language grew, obviously from Dutch, but it grew on this continent.
With all the monuments that I see in here, would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
Well, I think obviously these are controversial figures, and I think the fact that we put them here in Orania with our own funding, some people are uncomfortable in the rest of South Africa to care for them, to see them in public, because this is on private land, private funds, and it's our history.
But I know it's your history. But at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu leader? You know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africans.
That is a question. This is a question for Oranians.
He was more like the architect for apartheid. Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that he implemented a lot of policies in the apartheid era.
You don't think it's because of this that's why people have problems, It's because so many South Africans are not happy with this history, even though it's part of them. But I believe, like you just said, let the past be past. I mean, we can never forget our history. But I mean, I feel like this being here, it's more like like a sword in the eyes of the people of South Africa.
I don't think so.
Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
I do not believe that we are practicing racism. To tell you the truth, I've said it many times that if the question is, are there racists in Orania? I can assure you they are. There are racists in every town in South Africa, and every country in the world will find racists. That is a fact. The Orania model is a model of cultural preservation, and that is not racist. So you might disagree with me, but my personal belief, my honest belief, is that the Orania model is not racist at all. It is, however, a model to preserve something that we hold dear and to create a future where we can live our values, our religion, our language, and share our culture.
If you check when South Africa gained independence, if you check the coat of arms of South Africa, it said there is unity in diversity. Orania is within South Africa. But at the end of the day, I believe what you are practicing in here is not unity in diversity.
I beg to differ.
Can you explain that?
How can there be any diversity in South Africa if cultures are not allowed to be themselves? How can there be any diversity at all? If everyone is the same, there's no diversity. If you have a cultural community and you have Xhosa people or the Barulong people, and they also embrace their identity. And from a standpoint of knowing who you are, of being proud of your culture, of embracing who you are, you get to a point of self-confidence where you then can put out your hand and say, without anyone forcing us, I can build a diplomatic relationship with this and this. And we can do it on our own terms, community to community. That's unity and diversity. To just write it on a coat of arms doesn't mean anything. To live it by creating your own identity. Identity is needed for diversity. Without identity, there is no diversity. Listen, what you're not going to get in Orania is people falling on their knees, continuously saying sorry for their history. A lot of people apologized on our behalf for everything, and there's a lot of internal Afrikaner friction about that. But in Orania, you will find solutions. Maybe it's not the nice cherry on top stuff, people feel warm in their hearts, oh, Orania is so nice to us, but you will find long-term solutions in terms of labor policies, in terms of community-to-community relationships, and in terms of the way we think.
No, his idea was that Afrikaners deserve a homeland and they should have a homeland of their own that they can call their own. That's nobody else's, it's only theirs. Just like the Bantus had, the Bantustans, like Zululand, is only for the Zulus.
Where was he going to put this? How was he going to...
Basically the old areas of the Boer republics, but a little bit smaller. So basically Gauteng, which is like the core of what the Boer republics were. No other people have any claim on Gauteng because no other black tribe ever lived in Gauteng, historically speaking. And then parts of Limpopo, but just like the southern part of Limpopo, obviously the Venda people and the Tsonga people have claims to the north of it. Then the Kruger Park, then some parts of Mpumalanga, but then he would have given some of the Swazi areas back to the Swazi people and then some of the Zulu areas back to Zululand. And then on the other side, on the western side, Northwest Province, roughly half of Northwest Province, if you draw a line down the middle, that's where he would have made it. And then the northern part of the Free State, the southern part, he said, was Sotho territory. So that was the idea. This was the historic homeland of the Boer people, and that's what he wanted back. Oh, and obviously also Vryheid, the Republic of Vryheid in Natal, which would have given the land access to the sea as well, so it's not completely landlocked.
Who were the main opponents to Verwoerd at this point?
The mine bosses, yes. The most accepted theory was that it was the mine bosses that wanted him assassinated. They found a mentally disabled and also mentally, basically a crazy guy to do it. Because by that time, they actually made black people citizens of their different homelands. And the mine bosses didn't want their cheap labor to go back to develop the homelands. Because you must also remember the homelands were quite destitute in the fact that the families that lived there, the wife and the children, lived on their own, and the husband was working on the mine and just sending money back to them, which broke up the families completely, and it also took the entire labor force out of the homelands and putting them in Johannesburg, which was devastating for the culture and the family unit, and Verwoerd wanted to get rid of that. And he had a very big, a project to reunite black families.
Orania is a whites-only town. Black people cannot live or work here. Every job is reserved for the whites. Every task performed by white people. And yet the residents of this town insist they're not racist. Here's a report.
Welcome to Orania, a remote farming town in South Africa's Northern Cape. It prints its own money, runs its own banks, has its own holidays, and manages its own affairs. Sounds like the perfect township to relocate, right? Well, hold your horses. To enter Orania, you have to qualify on certain parameters. The foremost is the color of your skin. It has to be white, because Orania is a whites-only town. The uniqueness is too obvious to ignore. Wherever you go in this township, you will only find Afrikaners, white people with Dutch ancestry.
Wow.
They do all the work,
You've
from
heard it.
playing the
But I
piano
want
at
to
the
ask one
church.
question from my South African people. Thank you for watching. Please help me to like, share, and also subscribe. But one thing I want to ask, please, does it mean that no trade between them and other countries, between them and South Africans, all the things they are producing? Because I saw a lot of big equipment. They have production companies and manufacturing companies. Does it mean that South Africans, black, cannot buy from them? I need an answer on the comment section. If you're a South African here, let me know. Does it mean people cannot buy whatever they're producing and they cannot buy what you're producing? Does it mean you cannot buy from them? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.